Good evening, ladies. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today for the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting. And we would like to, anybody have not signed up to speak, you need to sign up to speak. Silent your phones. And the meeting now is called to order. Election from the Board of Appeal Chairman and election of the Board of Appeal Vice Chairman.
Ms. Patricia, we would make a recommendation at this time that since the full membership of the board is not present, that the members who are present would table this until the next meeting.
Okay, do I hear a motion second on that?
So motion.
So moved. Thank you. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Now we have our first application, 23-117S.
So application 2317S Sierra, Robert W. Bodron, owner 1400 Birdie Road, approximately 18.88 acres located in land lot 41 of the 3rd Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception to operate a gunsmithing business. This property is currently zoned AR1 agricultural and residential. We do have 5 members of our community who have signed up to speak for this particular zoning request.
Okay.
So, would you like to hear from staff first, or would you like
Staff.
to hear from the citizens first?
The citizen first.
All right,
And then we
so
hear from the
first up this evening, as you come forward to speak, if you would state your name and your address for the record. Corey Bannister.
Okay, will you raise your right hand, please?
It's okay, we don't have to swear them in.
Okay,
We'll
thank
just
you.
ask you to state your name and your address for the record, please.
My name's Corey Bannister. I'm at 1447 Birdie Road.
Okay.
I've got a question about the rezoning. Would this allow for a gun range on the property if it is rezoned, open to the public? My biggest concern is the noise.
Okay. Do we?
I think that would be answered during staff's consideration and recommendation of the
Okay.
the material. So, was there, that just your
That
only
was my, I
question?
just had a question. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
If you'll bear with us just a few
Okay.
minutes, I think we'll be able to answer that
All
for
right.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up is Mr. Bannister, you're up next. If you would, please state your name and your address for the record. Hey, hang on, when you come up this way, we're actually being recorded this evening.
My name is Jerry Bannister. My address is 2008 Birdie Road. I also have a concern about the gunsmith. Are they going to be allowed to come in here and add a gun range? And also, I'm afraid that it would cause a lot of more traffic on our road. We already having a lot of traffic coming out Birdie Road due to people cutting through 1941 going out to 92 Highway.
Okay, thank you, sir. James Bracklett?
It's like a bracket on a wall.
Thank you very much.
James Brackett, 1435 Birdie Road. So I did some research on this and not opposed to it, but have concerns. So the first time that the
Miss-
county commission,
Sorry, sir. Can you speak into the microphone, please?
the first time that the county commission approved a firing range was in Williamson in 2016. So WAPR did a very nice program on that. He got approved, so I understand that, we can't not allow something. I am concerned about noise. And when you're dealing with gunsmith, you're dealing with licensed firearms or federal firearms. So there might be automatic weapons that are fired there. And I do not approve of, you know, times of operation between 8 and 5 that would be considered a noise ordinance. And if you allow this, I'm afraid that there's no way for you to enforce that business operation time that will be between 8 and 5. So I'm opposed to it because of noise, and I'm opposed to it if there's automatic weapons that are going to be fired there. So greatly take that in concern. I understand the reason the gentleman wants to have some type of gunsmith business. If he's repairing firearms, that's great. But if they're going to be, you know, test firing, there needs to be an allotment on the time that that business can be in operation. So take that in consideration. I do have a couple of questions that I've sort of posed. So, I mean, one would be, you know, what type of firearms will be allowed, time of operation, and, you know, what's the purpose of this type of request? People shoot on their property all the time. So is a gunsmith required to shoot a gun on your property if that's all you're going to do? So, you know, those are some of the questions I have concerns with. It greatly causes disruption to my family when guns are shot and we don't know that it's fixing to happen. And we have a neighbor now that kindly, you know, I asked him to text us. So when family comes or when our animals are, you know, scared by thunder or loud noises, we can prepare for something like that. If the business is allowed to operate and we don't know the time range of operation, it's going to cause disruption to our household. We've lived in Griffin for 25 years, and we don't plan to leave, but if this would create havoc and cause property values, silence your phone.
Actually,
it-
you have 3 minutes, so your time.
Oh, I'm
limit's
timed up.
Yes, sir.
All right. So take that in consideration when you're, you know, evaluating this. I'm not saying that we don't have it, but there needs to be some type of restriction of time of operation.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you.
Mr. Reed, Greg Reed.
I am Greg Reed. I live at 1413 Birdie Road, directly across from the address in question. I would speak highly in favor of this. I've known these people for the 7 years that I have lived there. I have lived in Spalding County for 18 years now, and it has never been a problem. I don't think that it will be a problem should this be approved, and I would certainly be in favor of it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Reed. We also have signed up this evening Robert Bodron. He is the applicant. So if you would like to have a discussion with staff before Mr. Bodron comes up, that would be fine, or Mr. Bodron can speak now. It's up to you.
Okay, you can go ahead and speak now.
All right, Mr. Bodron?
I'm Robert Bodron from 1400 Birdie Road, and the reason for this application is to be able to have a federal firearms license at this location. I have previous license in another county, but I would like to relocate to my home. We have adequate space there, and the operations that we're planning to do are primarily internet-based and gun show-based. And I just retired. I don't want to be behind a desk at a store or anything. We're not going to be doing any retail business. We don't need to have a sign or customer parking. It's going to be primarily totally, nothing will change except I'll have the federal firearms license at this location instead of another location. I've also been a member of the Griffin Gun Club for probably 30, maybe 33 years. And that's where we shoot the big loud guns. We shoot on the property just like, you know, everybody does. But I don't think we've ever caused a problem, because anything big and loud, we always shoot over at Griffin or at some of the other ranges, like at Fort Gordon or somewhere like that.
Okay.
I did have one comment, though. On the application up there, it showed that the address for the future business is 1414. That's a parcel of the same property. And the house that we live in has got the mailbox address of 1400. The little shop that was on the property when we bought it that we want to fix up actually has its own electric meter as 1414. And that's what's on the application, but it's not what showed up on the paper here. So I just didn't know if you need to make a note of that.
Okay.
Okay,
Other than that, I'll be available for any questions.
All right.
okay, thank you. Okay,
That's all who
Yes.
signed up this evening.
that's us. Do we have any questions, anything from the board? No,
Madam
we have-
Chair, if I can read our staff report and recommendation for you all.
Okay,
Good evening. The
Staff.
applicant is Robert W. Bodrin. His address is 1400 Birdie Road. He did mention, of course, the actual shop is 1414, but given that this is a home occupation, that's the reason why we have this address here, 1400 Birdie Road. The request is this is for a special exception for gunsmithing home occupation. The property is currently zoned AR1, which is for agricultural and residential. The adjoining properties around it are zoned AR1 to the north, AR1 to the east, AR1 to the south and west. While making a determination, we also included a group of criteria-based questions to help you make your determination. And if I may read from the criteria here. Number one, would granting a special exception be detrimental to the use or development of adjacent property or the general neighborhood? And staff believes that no, granting the special exception will not be detrimental to the adjacent property or neighborhood. Two, would granting a special exception adversely affect the health or safety of residents? Staff does not foresee any adverse effects on the health or safety of the residents. Additionally, Mr. Bodrin will also be required to meet ATF requirements. Three, would granting a special exception cause depreciation or damages to the adjacent properties? Staff believes that it does not see the proposed use causing any depreciation or damages to the adjacent properties. Criteria four, would granting the special exception adversely affect existing uses? Granting the special exception should not have any effects on the existing use of property or adjacent property. Five, is the subject property sufficient in size to satisfy the space requirements for the proposed use? The answer to that would be yes. Additionally, Mr. Baldwin's workshop would be in an existing accessory structure and no business will be conducted from the main residence. Six, will granting the special exception meet the requirements of the Spalding County ordinance? Staff believes that granting the special exception will bring the use as proposed into compliance with Spalding County zoning ordinance as with ATF requirements. Therefore, our final recommendation is for conditional approval with the following conditions. Number one, no exterior signage. Two, fire marshal inspections of the premise. Three, any felony conviction must be reported within 10 business days. And again, I want to stress that this is a home occupation based on what our code allows. This is a home occupation as a special exception. I want to also emphasize that this is not going to be a gun range. This is just merely a workshop. He's going to be conducting business online and for various gun shows. No customers are permitted on property. This is just for the applicant to use his residence as a place to perform his hobby. And by going through this process, this is what would allow him to have this occupation as a special exception.
Okay, do I have any?
If I can make one point, gun ranges are specifically excluded as a home occupation in AR1.
Okay. Do I have a second from the, anyone else wants to speak on this agenda from the staff? Okay. Can I get a?
I'll
go
make a
ahead.
motion that
Make
we
a
approve
motion.
based on the staff's recommendation.
Okay,
And that is with conditions, with the
with
conditions
conditions?
stated.
Correct.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor, ayes. Thank you.
This goes to the Board of Commissioners on the 27th.
Okay, do you want-
Madam Vice Chair, the second application this evening is 2316 S Sierra. Iris Hernandez, owner, 2160 Rocky Creek Road, approximately 30.08 acres located in land lot 172, the 3rd Land District. The applicant is requesting a special exception to operate an event center for private parties. The property is currently zoned AR1 agricultural and residential. I would make a recommendation that the board have a conversation with the staff before we move on to our individuals who would like to speak this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
This particular case item, staff is recommending this be tabled. The Board of Commissioners, they have recently approved for special exceptions to go before the Board of Commissioners. Given that there are some other issues on top of what you just see in their application request that goes along with this request, we feel that it would be necessary for this to be tabled tonight so it can go before the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
So there will be some other items that staff has recognized since the processing of this application that kind of complicates it a bit more. And this would be a definite guinea pig to take before the Board of Commissioners as we do what we can to get the ordinance
Okay.
implemented.
One thing, it will not go to the Board of Commissioners until either it comes back to you or goes to the
Yes.
Planning Commission.
Okay. Staff recommending we table this.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, I move that we table case petition 23-15V.
Can I- All in favor?
Can I make a
This is
correction?
for-
Is 2316S as in
I'm
Sierra.
sorry, 2316S. I amend my motion. My apologies.
Second.
Okay. Ayes. Thank you.
Did everybody vote?
Call for a vote.
Yeah.
I
All
did.
right, sorry. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Vice Chair, just as an aside, for anyone who is signed up to speak for the Iris Hernandez case, that case has been tabled, so we will forego those comments if that's okay. Next on the agenda this evening is application 2315V Victor. Rob Habelt, owner James Hardy, agent 1952 Blanton Mill Road, approximately 3.987 acres located in land lot 88 of the 1st District. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce side setbacks from the required 25 feet to 20 feet. Maybe an opportunity to listen to staff's conversations before we get into the applicant. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Staff.
This case is referenced as 23-15V. Applicant is Ron Habold and James Hardy. Address location is 1952 Blanton Mill Road. Variance request is to reduce the side yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet. Current zoning is AR1. Surrounding zoning, north, east, south, and west are all AR1. To give a background to this particular case, staff found that there was pouring of concrete, and by finding that out, we noticed that there was an encroachment to the side yard setback. So to correct that, this either go through this process of requesting a variance, or we were trying to see if the applicant would be able to work something out with the owner, maybe an easement or to get the property resurveyed to allow that setback to occur. Our staff analysis is as follows. There are no extraordinary or exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular parcel because of its size, shape, location, and topography. No granting of the variance would relieve the owner from the current hardship. Such conditions are peculiar and unique to the particular parcel. Staff recommends that it's yes. The answer would be yes. That is the only lot violating the setback standards in that particular area. A literal interpretation of this ordinance would deprive the applicant of any right that others owning property without the same zoning classification are allowed. That answer would be no. The variance, if granted, shall not go beyond the minimum necessary to afford and does not constitute a grant of special privilege inconsistent with the limitations upon other properties within the same zoning classification. The answer would be no. The variance may be granted with such conditions imposed as may be necessary to protect the health, safety, welfare, and general value of the property in the general neighborhood. That answer would be no. Granting the variance would not have adverse impacts to the health, safety, welfare, and general value of the surrounding area. Last, granting the variance shall not be based on consideration of any existing non-conforming uses on nearby parcels and no permitted use of any parcel in any other zoning classification. Staff believes that granting the variance will not have any negative impacts on any existing non-conforming uses or zoning classification of nearby parcels. So again, this was an issue that we were just trying to resolve the right way, the correct way, so he'd be able to have his necessary permit and CO. And just to give further background, just to reemphasize, a stop work order was put in place after the building official informed staff about the setback violation. Staff recommendation would be to recommend approval to reduce the side yard setback from 25 feet to 20 feet to correct the mistake.
Okay. Do you need to
Yes, ma'am.
speak?
Jim Hardy is here.
Yes.
But apparently I don't need to speak. But I do have a short sermon I could deliver if necessary.
A short sermon?
There's a real sermon, yeah, I'm a short, but what I thought were the boundaries.
We need Ms. Hardy's name and
yes.
address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
James Hardy, with James Hardy Designs, and my address is 1320 Chapel Hill Road, Williamson, Georgia.
Thank you.
So the lesson is, what I thought was the right plan turned out to be a trespass, slight trespass, which ended up in a lot of problems. So make sure you got the right plan.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you so much. We heard from the staff and the board. No, if you don't have anything, the staff have approval. And we just like to,
Would the staff recommend,
Make a motion to
please.
approve.
yes.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, raise your hand. Ayes have it. Thank you.
You welcome.
Thank you. Now, we're on number 4, application 2310 V. Victor, Driller Services owner. Advanced Engineering Services LLC is the agent, 100 Moreland Road, approximately 5.8 acres located in land lot 119 of the 2nd Land District. The applicant is requesting a variance for the sidewalk requirement within the Tri-County overlay. This property is currently zoned C1 Highway Commercial and is located within the Tri-County overlay.
Can we hear from the
I would
board?
ask staff to engage first, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, once again, staff is requesting to table this item. This property is actually going to go before the Board of Commissioners for a
Rezoning.
rezoning.
Okay.
And so, given how we have asked and requested for the Board of Commissioners to approve what they just recently approved for anything that's associated, meaning variances, exceptions, what have you, that's associated with a rezoning application, all of that would go before the Board of Commissioners. So we thought it would be appropriate and in concert with what has been approved for this application to go before the Board of Commissioners, so that they can not only determine whether or not to rezone a property, but to also determine or consider the various variance requests and exceptions that the applicant is requesting.
Y'all have not met since the Board of Commissioners had to approve zoning text amendments to comply with revisions, legislative revisions to zoning procedures law. If you have an application for rezoning, the law now says a special exception and a variance will be heard at the same time as the rezoning by the same boards in one hearing. So if the variance is related to rezoning, it will go to the Planning Commission and then to the Board of Commissioners.
So then it will not come to us at
It
all?
will not come to you at all.
Okay. Now, if
I
I
don't
may.
want you to feel slighted, Tim.
Well, look, look, now, what, is this a format where we can discuss what they're trying to, because they're currently zoned C1, and they're trying to become zoned something else? Am I understanding that correctly?
The zoning is going to be to the Tri-County overlay.
So they're not in the Tri-County overlay?
They
but
are in the,
They are
Yes.
in it, and
So-
then they want to be rezoned?
Yeah,
to
so
what?
right now, the main parcel is C1B.
Mm-hmm.
They're enlarging or expanding their operations to the parcel behind them or to the side of them. And that parcel right now is currently zoned C1. So they are trying to keep everything uniform and also rezone that other parcel to C1B to allow the use for it for that expansion.
and because they're in the Tri-County overlay, of course, it's going to have some other stipulations and requirements for them to adhere to as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, we heard from the
But
staff.
if a variance, and I don't mean to pack up, I've got to go to another hearing. If the variance is tied to or needed for approval of rezoning, everything gets lumped together. By statute, it goes to the Planning Commission and then to the Board of Commissioners as if it is rezoning. They'll still have to vote on the variances separately, but it's one hearing.
Okay.
So we vote to table this, and it goes to the commissioners.
Well,
We'll go
eventually.
Planning Commission
Planning
first,
Commission,
and then
then.
to the
Well, then, is there a need to table because it's not coming back to us? Or is that the only process that we have?
I would say I would say what you said, Tanya. It's about
Okay.
Make
the
a
only
motion
way
to
do it.
table.
And that applies that, Charles, aren't there two variants?
There is two. Do
Yes.
we need to do them separately?
Same-
Okay,
same-
I
same
second
motion.
motion to table 2310V.
Okay. Do I hear,
And then we need to
Move.
vote.
You got to vote on that.
Oh,
You-
no.
all in favor, raise, okay, second. Thank you.
And I move to table application 23-10VA.
Okay, we table that one. Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Who did the second? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Adam.
And if we're ready, I can make a motion on the minutes, Madam Vice Chair, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. I move approval of the March 8th
I do want to say something. So, you guys did not receive a copy of those minutes, so I think it would be the best thing to table to the next meeting. And the reason why,
Okay.
I had them on a flash drive, and when I tried to upload them, my flash drive just
I
didn't
remember
stop
you
working on me.
saying that
Yeah,
in the
so,
email. Okay.
the minutes, will be presented at the next hearing
Okay.
and with the
Okay.
minutes for this meeting as well.
Okay, well then
Okay.
I move to table the approval of March 8th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Second, all in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Let's have it. Okay, is that report of director?
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I want to formally introduce myself. I'm Charles Reese, new Community Development Director, and it's a pleasure to be here and to get to meet you all. I want to emphasize two things. First, I want you to know that these cases that are going to be going before the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners that include variances, please know this is pretty much the norm throughout the nation, throughout the planning profession, for those type of cases to go before the Planning Commission and Board of Commissioners. So it's not to slight you all, but it would make sense, better sense, if a variance is also part of a rezone or what have you, that all of that should go before the Board of Commissioners. So I just want to let you all know it's not a thing of you all being slighted. And the second point I want to make is, as soon as possible, we're going to schedule training. I want to make sure that we give you all the resources that are needed to do your jobs. So we'll be letting you know, hopefully by the next meeting, how we'll go about doing that for future training.
Okay,
And that's all I have.
do we have any board member comments?
Well, welcome
Thank you.
to Spalding County
Spalding
and to the
County.
position. Hopefully, it has been a smooth transition.
Oh, it
so-
has. It has.
Okay, well, good. We are so happy to see you.
Happy to be here. Happy to be
Thank you,
here.
thank you. Okay.
Okay. Anything else in it? Okay, the adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Ayes have it. Thank you.
All right, meeting concluded at 6:33.
All right.